Alright, so sorry about that. So apparently they believe that I was out here selling some goods because a customer, a person had some goods beside. But let's get back to the scriptures, right? So I'm gonna read again Micah 2 and verse 1. It says, "Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hand. And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage." And I mean, I said that's police working for the Babylon system, yo. And I mean, our people like to have this system oppressing them, and they believe in it. See them a try to hustle and make a way and live and all of that. But they don't have the money to open businesses or to basically have a space for themselves, so they know they light in the streets and do anything. At the same time, they love this oppression, right? They love this. But the so-called white man, as I was saying, they covet fields, they go about other nations, and they infiltrate these people by destroying the families, destroying the government and society, that they can have, regime changes. And then they do what? Take your resources. They come in and they say, "Look, man, pick a man. I mean, give us your oil." Or even if they're not taking it, like grabbing it, which they do a lot of the times, they find themselves where they can construct deals that basically benefit them. Robbery. These are basically robbery, I mean, giving you fiat currency, giving you money, a limited amount of money, even though it's rubbish, really. I mean, and taking away your resources, yo. Because what is real resources? What is real wealth? Not the paper that you have, really, but the things that come from the earth, the gold, the minerals, the oil. I mean, these things are real wealth. Your land, having access to land. These people control all these aspects of your life. So therefore, you are becoming slaves, and more and more. I mean, you lose power, you lose any ability to fend for your people, because the so-called white man and his allies are controlling all these aspects of your life. I mean, when you go to seek their help for loans and all of these things, you're going into a debt. And even if you get into a debt where somewhere or the other you can strive with that interest rate that you're getting, which is wrong, I mean, it comes at the end of offending somebody else or destroying someone else, yo. So it's not a good and right society, right? But again, people love the oppressive society that they are in. All right, right? So that's happening to Venezuela right now. I mean, that's been happening to the Middle East all along. But hear what you people say to yourself. You don't care about it, yo. It's not happening to you, therefore it don't affect you. But it affects you nonetheless, because even when they do that over in that side, your cost of living go up. I mean, when there's war in Ukraine, when there's war in the Middle East and all these other countries, by so-called white man, you are being affected in many ways. One way I just explain is your cost of living it rise. So you're being oppressed on a higher level. But you lack the knowledge to understand these simple, basic things. So you don't see the trending behaviors and disgust of it. You play blind, and you make the so-called white man seduce you, until now it is in your backyard. It is in your own home. And it's getting too late for a lot of you people, because again, you are not waking up what is being said. You are still blind and looking to the enemy for support. I mean, whether I want to be Europe, whether I be France, Britain, Spain, it doesn't matter, yo. You are looking for support for the so-called white man in every aspect. And if it is not them, it is China. Again, another enemy. These men conspire together to destroy us as a people. They have no sincere intent or intention to see us on top. That is why, according to their statistics and their reading, we are not next. It is either America, which is so-called white man, staying on top, or next is going to be Russia or China, according to them. But according to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, we, the Israelites, the true Israelites, again, you Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, we are next. Our kingdom is next. We are going to rule the entire earth and the world in righteousness, in peace and prosperity. There won't be anyone challenging us in our stead, in our leadership. We won't have these divisions amongst ourselves like white man is having now. Because right now, in the Senate in America, you have a division amongst what is taking place. You know what I mean? They are divided against, because Trump is passing these, well, some of these changes per se, but he's also committing these atrocities to make America great again. Which America was never great for you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. It was great for the so-called white man. When he had slaves, when you had to say yes, master, when you had to be wiping his shoes, you know what I mean? But because you get to the privilege now, you forget these things. And you forget about this what they did your foreparents back then. Showing that you have no dignity, you have no self, you have no self, you lost self-worth. You know what I mean? You're being defined by what white man wants to define you as young bangers, whores, you know what I mean? And all these other demeaning ways, yo. That's how you're not accepting to be defined. You're not a bad man, you're not a bad girl, you're not hot-head. That's how you like to be called these things, yo. You don't want to be called righteous or, good people of God. No, you don't accept these names anymore. Because according to you, they're lame. Alright? I'll move to the next precept. Alright, so because I run out of time, I'm going to just go to some other precept that I have here. This is Revelation 18, I'm going to start from verse 1. Let's start from verse 1. And after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was, coming from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightning with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and is become the habitations of devils, and dwell of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. And the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, that ye receive not of her plagues. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and God had remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her, double according to her works. In the cup which she had filled to her double, how much she hath glorified herself and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her. For she said in her heart, I sit a queen, and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning, and with fire. Strong, sorry, for strong is the Lord Yahweh who judgeth her. So the white man there, America, is being judged by who? Yahweh or Yahweh Shai. You know what I mean? And it says strong is the Lord that judgeth her. It's not NATO that's going to judge America. It's not the Caribbean, or they call it CARICOM, is going to judge America. They have no power or might to do so. You know what I mean? The Lord himself is going to put his spirit upon these nations. You know what I mean? The enemies of America, Russia, China, you know what I mean? The allies that were with America, they're going to turn against America. And they're going to do what? Destroy it on the face of the earth. With terrible nuclear destruction, yo. Let me get in chapter 17, I read the point. Because we spoke about the whore that cup in her hand, that are the nations basically following their fornication and wickedness, right? So let me read it in Revelation 17 and I'm going to go to verse 15. Let's start from verse 14. Verse 14 says, These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. Those are the men that you see in the aisles and edges, speaking to you week in, week out, warning you about the time to come. You know what I mean? They are going to be with Yahweh Shai, the angels, and it says that the Lord is strong. Alright? Let me continue. And he said unto me, The waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. Right? For Yahweh had put it in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of Yahweh shall be fulfilled. Right? And the woman which thou sawest is that great city, which reigneth over the kings of the earth. Right? That's America. Right? They're going to be burning what? Terrible nuclear destruction. And for those who are so slow and dumb, who says, the Bible never says America, all fingers are pointed towards America. Name another country that goes about another country like America does. They are the main culprit of that. Name another country that puts regime chains on other countries like America. They are the main culprit in doing that. Name another country, you know what I mean, that is so proud and high-minded against Yahweh, or Yahweh Shai. None. Name another country that all the tribes dwelling and are being oppressed more and more, the most by the other nations. None. America is the main people that country for that. All the tribes are in America. You know what I mean? They're in every nation, of course, but majority of them is in the Americas, yo. In this region, we serve hardcore bandits building America City. The Americas, a nation, yo, are building the Americas. All right, but let me go to the next. That's running. Let me get to the next one real quick and fast. This is Jeremiah 51. We'll jump to it real quick. It says, Thus said the Lord, Behold, I will raise up against Babylon, against America, and against them that dwell in the midst of them that rise up against me and destroy in the wind. Again, thermonuclear destruction. And will send unto Babylon fanners that shall fan her, and shall empty her land For in the day of trouble, they shall be against her round about. Oh, now I'm saying because I'm barely seeing it, right? Let me read it again, right? And shall empty her, and for empty your land, sorry, for in the day of trouble they shall be against her round about. That's what we just read. In the day of trouble, all these nations are going to be against America. Let's continue. Against him that bendeth, let the archer bend his bow, and against him that lifteth himself up in his brigadine, sorry, and spare ye not her young men, destroy ye utterly all her hosts. That's what the Lord is plotting against America. Let's jump to verse 7. It says, Babylon, again I'm really seeing, Babylon had been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations are drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. Meaning what? They are hungry. These nations are angry against America because they realize that America is the devil basically. The devil is through them, which they call the devil, the so-called Jewish people, the fake Jews, not the gutter rats. Right? They behave as if they come to bring peace. But when they leave, your country is poorer, more violent, destabilized, and destroyed. Look at Libya. Look at the Middle East. America went to these countries to bring what? Regime changes and peace to these nations. But when they went there, they armed rebel groups. They funded the armies there. And when they get what they want, they depart and leave the country to suffer and to be destroyed. That is so-called white man way for you, yo. Like I said earlier, deceive, destroy. You know what I mean? Telling lies, rob you, and then destroy and leave to basically be destroyed even further. When he get the power over you, then there's no more interest that he needs because he already is leading over you. Which is why Jamaica can act the way it's acting now, because at this point, they really don't need much from you. But once they need they need things from you or they need your country, then their hand is shown. You know what I mean? But again, you people are going to be naive, you're going to be silly, you're going to deny or refuse to listen to what's being said, and eventually you're going to be what? Destroyed. Alright? So, hope someone was edified. I don't have to give our praise again to Yahweh, while Yahweh shine. Shalom to the apostles out there, you know what I mean? Shalom.